Welcome back, fellow adventurers. Today we have a real treat for you because we just spent some time in Sint Maarten. And today, to elaborate on the growth of Sint Maarten, is a cousin of mine from Sabre, Chris Johnson, who has been living and working in Sint Maarten for several years now. And I'm going to let him tell you how he has seen Sint Maarten evolve from when he started until now.
I'm taking my chances along with my dreams.
So, everybody, help me welcome Chris Johnson.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Cheryl, and it's great to be here. Very nice to see you, and too bad we missed each other when you were here, but still, modern technology, and we get to talk here on Zoom, so that's very nice.
Yes, this is very nice. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time for us.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, so well, let me just tell you a little bit first about what I do and my position here. So as you said, of course, originally from Sabre,
Yeah.
and I've been on Sint Maarten since 2016. And so I'm the head of the Dutch representation office on Sint Maarten, so the Dutch representative. And what my office does is we are the liaison, or the office in between the government of Sint Maarten and the government of the Netherlands. So we are like a little bit almost like an embassy, but the Sint Maarten is in the Dutch kingdom, so our role is a little bit different here. So I came here in 2016, and I must say, the office didn't have that significant of a role between the two countries. Sint Maarten had just become a country in 2010, an autonomous country within the kingdom. But a lot has changed in the last 8 years since I've been here. And so what has happened here is that the relationship intensified a lot, especially after Hurricane Irma. Hurricane Irma really, really destroyed Sint Maarten. I think it was estimated of about $2.4 billion worth of damage were done here, to houses and to the airport, as you know, and all the shipwrecks and things like that. So the relationship got a bit more intense, especially after Hurricane Irma. And the government of the Netherlands provided 550 million euros to help with the reconstruction. So just to give you an example, my office in the early stages of these type of things is where we played a major role, getting the two governments to meet with each other, and like I said, being the liaison between the two. In the meantime, that has been ongoing for quite some years. And then when things were starting to get a little bit normal, then all of a sudden COVID hit. And St. Maarten is a tourism economy. So getting hit by COVID was a big financial blow for this island. So again, St. Maarten and Curaçao and Aruba, they needed some assistance from the Netherlands. And there were loans that were given to help with their budgets and things like that. And out of that came some more intensity, let's say, to the relationship. So they have something called country packages, for example. And I know most people don't pay attention to these things, which is fine and fair. But you have a lot of interaction these days between the Dutch government and the government of St. Maarten. So especially because of the trust fund and the reconstruction after Hurricane Irma, and then with the COVID loans and the government reforms that are to take place. So my office kind of, like I said, plays the liaison in between the two. So from that vantage point, I've been able to see a lot on a government perspective, but also just living on St. Maarten and seeing the development, how the hurricane affected the economy, how the COVID affected it by shutting it down,
Right.
and yeah, so, I mean, I always tell people that we Sabins, we feel that St. Maarten is a little bit ours as well. And I tell them, if you live in a big city like Miami, maybe you don't look at Port St. Lucie as your town, but the person from Port St. Lucie can also look at Miami as saying, oh, but this is my city. Because I tell them, when we grew up on Seba, we come to St. Maarten to go to the movies, to eat sushi, to hang out, to party. So, it's never been more than maybe 2 or 3 months in my life that I wasn't on St. Maarten. So, sorry, I just have to turn off something here. So yeah, so in that sense, it's been quite an 8-year period to be living here and to be a part of this. But I'm almost done now. I only have about 3 months left in my position, and then I'm actually moving back home, moving back to Seba.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm in my second.
We caught you just in time.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
this is wonderful because people hear the political part of St. Maarten and the islands in general. So this is a little insight of the collaboration between St. Maarten and Holland. So this is really, really good information. Thank you.
And I mean, since I've been here, I must say that I've gotten to learn St. Maarten from a different angle, so not just within government, but we've worked with a lot of NGOs on the island. For example, during COVID, there was a food assistance program where we also worked with several NGOs. And we also have a budget in my office whereby we give donations to different NGOs on the island. And what I have seen, I mean, a lot of times people focus on the negativity, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But at least when you see how well the NGOs here function and the amount of people that are on St. Maarten that are really working hard to give back to the community, that's a beautiful thing. And I think that, we can always learn a little bit from each island, I believe, if we look at things in the right way. And that's something that I will take back home to Seba with me, is to see that, that mentality of jumping in and helping out. I'm not saying that Sabans don't. I think we are also very much hands-on. Nobody fixes back better after a hurricane in Seba and jumps out and clears things.
Yeah.
But these NGO initiatives here, I think there's some more that we can do on smaller islands, watching what they do here in St. Maarten.
That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing all this. And I know that you have been in St. Maarten for years, and a lot of people know you because I was in Phillipsburg when I was there, and I went into the smallest bar in the world, and I met Juggy. And he said, "Oh, are you from Seba? Do you know Chris Johnson?" I was like, "Of course." So he was telling me, you come to the restaurant. His son's restaurant is right next door. I met his wife, and she was telling me about the good charitable work she does and how you support them. And they had only good things to say about you.
Somebody needs a cocktail. You want to be in the picture?
You want to be?
Do you want to be in the picture?
You guys want to be. At the smallest bar in the world? Wow! Lucky you guys! Woohoo! Cheers!
Beautiful. Yes.
Thank you. Oh my gosh!
If you have anything you want to leave, yeah, you want to donate anything?
You just seen them just now after she's taking a video and then, oh my God. There's
Holy mackerel!
I mean, if you see one you like.
This is Anita, Juggy's wife, and not only do they donate to breast cancer awareness, but Anita has been doing charitable work for how long?
At least 28 years.
At least 28 years. And what's the organization called?
The Island Gems Charity Organization. They are one of the first organizations that came up here, started nearly 40 years ago. And it
Wow.
was only, it's a good thing about it, it's only ladies. It's all ladies. We don't want the men around.
Good job.
So ladies, we do an event every year. We collect money and then we distribute it, to the schools, to people who are in need. There's a lot of money needed all the time.
Yeah. How wonderful. Good for you. Thank you so much for sharing
Thank you,
that.
thank you. In fact, April we have our event. So if anybody is interested, please come. It's a gala we have at the Emilio's.
Okay.
And the ticket is $125.
Awesome.
Come and support. If you're here on the island, come and support.
Thank you so much. I won't be here, but I would like to promote this for sure. What day in April?
On the 13th of April.
The 13th. Awesome. Best of luck with your event.
Thank you, thank you.
So you are Juggy, right? And Juggy's is the smallest bar in the world. And Mr. Juggy, would you tell us what the story of the bras is?
Well, we donate money for breast cancer awareness. For every bra that's given to me, I donate $5. We have 4,000 bras.
Wow.
No, we have 785 bras, and we have donated $4,000
Wow, that's
so far.
awesome.
And we're still collecting.
Awesome. How long have you been here? How long has your bar been here?
28 years.
28 years. Wow, good for you. Cutest little bar in the world, and what a good project. So come and see Juggy and donate to Juggy.
Thank you.
So I know that you are very much ingrained into the local culture and population into Sint Maarten. They will miss you.
Yeah. Well, no, it's nice to hear. And it's interesting that you say that, because I always tell people when I first moved here, let's say the first 3 or 4 months, we're from Seba. So St. Maarten for us is still big and a larger community. But what you realize very quickly is that after 3-4 months, you start to see the same group of people. So I said, it's maybe 300-400 key players that are involved in governments, but these NGOs and different organizations and in the business community. And then you realize that just like Seba, it's a small community, and I know a lot of other communities are like that as well. So yeah, I know Juggy's son, Quran, with his smash burgers that are great. I know Juggy's wife and what she does with the Island Gems. They have a charity that works on both the French side and the Dutch side. So yeah, those are the things that when I leave here, getting to know the players in the community has been really, really amazing. And then having kids here, so we have 4 kids, and with the kids in school and the sports programs and those type of things, my eldest daughter, she won the under 18 female athlete of the year for St. Maarten.
Wow.
It's called, the Brown Pelican. My second daughter, Lauren, so that's Natalie. My second daughter, Lauren, also just won a youth award for best female athlete now 3 weeks ago. So when you are in the community, you get to know the sports clubs, the classmates, the teachers. You interact with different groups around you. So that's very nice, seeing the little circles, who knows who's with who. And that's been really cool.
So it sounds like it's been a really good time for you and your family.
Yeah.
Right?
Not all roses. Not all roses. After Irma was very difficult because St. Maarten isn't like Seba. Able to handle a natural disaster that well. So it's a small island with a high population, with a lot of let's say migrant communities that live here who aren't originally from the island. And what you can see that we didn't have electricity for 2 months in my house after Hurricane Irma. And those type of things. And so it hasn't all been a bed of roses, but you really get to learn it that way.
Yeah. And we forget after the hurricanes pass, and so we forget what people go through. But It brings back memories when you say that, living without electricity for a while. And so, yeah, that is
Yeah.
tough. That is tough. So let me ask you, in your time, and I know since the hurricane especially, how have you seen tourism coming back? Because it seemed we were there and it seemed like St. Martin was booming.
Yeah, no, I think it is. And I mean, it's so strange. Like, I always tell people, you're either on the map or you're not. And so we're looking at, like, even though I'm living here, I always think of things from a Saban mind frame, you know? Even when I was in school away, I was always think, like, how can this translate to Saba? And what can we do to get more on the map? And I remember after Hurricane Irma, passing through Grand Cars, and I watched a family with a father, a mother, and two kids with their fins strapped over their back, and they're climbing over the rubble just to get down to the beach. You know, this was like 3 weeks, 4 weeks after the hurricane. And I said, wow, look how hard we smaller islands have it to even get people to come. And here, and even after the aftermath of a hurricane, they're just climbing over the rubble to get down to the beach and to jump into that water. So
Yeah.
St. Martin has a loyal following of tourists because of the name recognition.
Yeah.
Another thing that St. Martin did that I realized after living here was that I think since about the 80s, maybe, with the timeshare, what has happened is that you have a lot of people who own a week at a villa or a hotel. So, and what it does is it creates these repeat customers. So you see that they have a sense of loyalty. They had people who came here to volunteer after the hurricane who had been coming here for 30, 40 years. And they just came down, retired people from Florida, from what have you, from the New York area, who just came to help. And they said, listen, the island needs us. So they didn't look at it as a way like, oh, I want to get away from it. They felt such a connection to St. Martin and such a loyalty that was also remarkable for me to see. If you look at it, also from a tourism perspective.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, I've seen that personally. And when you see the numbers also of the stay over tourists and the cruise tourists, of course, that took a big hit. And then again in COVID, it took a big hit. But yeah, at this point now, I mean, we're just getting to the end of the high season here. And you go, I mean, from the restaurants right back, the island is just crawling with people. We had the cruise ships. So my office is right here in Phillipsburg. And I can tell you that some days you have 5 or 6 cruise ships. And when you see an extra 20, 30,000 people on this island, I mean, it is remarkable and just completely packed. So, yeah, I think in that sense, I mean, St. Martin is doing well. Of course, the fear every year is what happens if a hurricane hits. And if that happens, then you can have a real shock to the economy, that can take a long time to build back up. But there is something else that St. Martin has that sometimes people, let's say, overlook a bit. And the fact that St. Martin is the hub of the Northeast Caribbean, so even if St. Martin takes a little bit of a shock, once St. Bart's is doing well, and Anguilla is doing well, and if Saba and Statia are doing well, all of the goods come through St. Martin. The people who fly to the smaller islands also come through St. Martin. So it looks like internal tourism, but this hub function has a huge impact on the economy here. And so that's another thing that they have. And I must say, I mean, the airport has taken a long time, but it is getting very close to being done now.
Yes.
The harbor is really well. Yeah. So stuff like that. So yeah, so we see that, and I see the effects that has on this economy on this island.
And you're right, St. Martin is a popular island because when people ask me where I'm from and I say a small island in the Caribbean, I always start off with Saba, which 99.9% have never heard of. But as soon as I say St. Martin, most people have even been there. Oh, I know St. Martin. I've been on a cruise, most people, and they do go back. You're right. And the timeshare was a good thing because I've met people who have been going to St. Martin for 20, 30 years. They want to call it their second home. So that was a good thing for sure. But yeah, we love St. Martin. And you're right, coming from Saba, it's like your second home. You go shopping, you go to the beach, you go to St. Martin for everything. You go for KFC when you come from Saba. So it's
Well, your son is over here nearly every week, and
he's there right
he
now.
always because of his coffee that he's having down there by Carlton and Sherry and stuff like that. And they come over
Yeah,
for the Heineken Plata, and they, I get to see him sometimes. And
yeah,
but yeah, St. Martin is like our shopping mall and our little playground. So
yeah,
why not? Yeah, I'm
exactly.
glad we have it. Yeah.
Exactly. We are fortunate. We're coming back to St. Martin in a few weeks, but on a cruise, so we'll only be there for a few hours. Yeah, my stepson is getting married on the cruise, so it's going to be
Oh,
nice.
wow,
And
nice.
he's bringing 72 in his a bridal cruise party, so it's
Wow.
going to be yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be a fun time. So we'll be happy to stop in for a few hours into St. Martin.
Yeah, very nice. When I had lived in the States also for 9 years when I went to school up there, and you're right. I think in the entire time I was there, I only met two people who had ever heard of Sabre. One was a diver, and one loved airports. And both of them, I said, "Oh, okay, so you know of Sabre," but no one else knew of Sabre. But they all knew of St. Martin. I mean, right away.
Yeah,
Oh, I've been on a cruise there. Oh, so
yeah,
yeah, it
yeah.
has that appeal.
I have discovered that more people know about St. Martin than Puerto Rico. I mean, the American island, more people have been to St. Martin, so it's a very popular tourist stop for sure.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I so appreciate you sharing this with us. And I will include Juggy and his wife's snippet with them because she's also promoting event that's coming up this weekend. So
Yeah.
hopefully she has a good turnout and they do well because they do such good work for St. Martin. So
Yeah, they do. And like I said, I mean, you really see it here. I think the what I will leave with the most impressionable is these types of people who just go the extra mile in the NGO community and really do it here. And I've seen from, I mean, animal welfare groups, the environmental groups, the helping poverty and feeding. It doesn't always say the best thing for how the island itself is organized because it shows it's lacking in many areas. But where you see that the services are not provided adequately, you see these heroes step up and just do amazing things here. So, man, I mean, like I said, if I have one major impression that I will leave here with, it's that seeing humanity in full force here at times. And unfortunately, I mean, I work in the government sector. So, like I said, most of the time we hear the bad things. You hear the news of this and political instability and what have you. But underneath that layer, there are so many beautiful stories and just great things happening. So that's been really
great.
what I will take away from this. Yeah.
I love it. And I'm a big believer on focusing on the positive. So no matter where I go, I try and focus on the positive. And I usually only see the good and the beautiful and the positive and see. So I met up with Juggy and his wife who do good work into St. Martin. So I believe in focusing on the positive, and that's where we'll all go.
Yeah, I think that's great, and it's a state of mind, and it's how you view the world and how you view things around you and all that stuff. So for me, I've done a lot of maturing in my last years. I would like to believe as well, and I know that sometimes on Seva, we it's a small community, and sometimes we can focus on what hasn't happened and what isn't going well, and I always think like. Walter Campbell used to say that there was no problem on Saba that couldn't be fixed by taking some of the people, putting them in another place for 3 days, and then bringing them back to Saba and realizing what a beautiful paradise, that the island is. But no, and I think that it's how you look at things, and that's I've tried in my own life to expand on that. Make some changes in who I am, and just focus on those things. And I think if you do it in your own mind, then it's
Yeah.
amazing with the way you can view things. So I enjoy that. No, and we are very excited about moving home. I spent 8 years living off Saba, and so we're gonna get back in the restaurant business.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Exciting.
so where the long haul is now, that's our building, and his lease is coming to an end, and so me and Marvy are gonna jump back in, and we're gonna do our own thing there. And so yeah, and maybe I can
Exciting.
make some smash burgers like Juggy's son. So
Yeah, exactly. Juggy will have to visit you in Sable. And I have to
absolutely.
throw in one thing. I really admire your slave beads.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, great. And
Those are
I
hard
have
to
quite
come
some
by.
fun. And you know, from when we were small, when I was small, that you know, my father's always had great connections on Stacia as well. A
Right.
lot of times in the summer, when me and Teddy were small, we would go up there with him and my mother, and Ishmael Burkle would just let us stay in his place for some weeks, and we would
We
run
met
around.
him.
Oh man, what a remarkable man! Huh? I think
Yeah.
he's like 90 now,
Yeah.
and fit as a fiddle,
Yeah.
and such a sweet guy, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but you have, and we always had that connection, and I got a lot of these since I was younger, and I've been collecting them through the years.
Good
And you
for
know,
you.
sometimes people ask me, to say, well, just recently, but Chris, you are wearing slave beads, and you're not of African ancestry, you're of European ancestry. And I said, listen, hold on, stop there a minute. I said, you know, I grew up with people in Stacia that are like family of mine. I said, these beads, they say you don't find the bead finds you.
You.
And I said, these beads found me through many friends, also on Stacia as well as here. And I said, you know, this has always been me wearing these beads to show my solidarity with Stacia, my love for the island. And I said, so please don't come and try to mix up things and
Yeah.
messages.
Yeah.
Let's have
I
respect there.
I think it's great. I love them, and it's so unusual. So as soon as I saw them, I was like, "Wow, good for you." Well, Chris, thank you so much for your time. This has been awesome. Good luck with your short term now, only your few months, and your transition back home. But I know you'll be visiting St. Maarten all the time, even when you move back.
Yeah, no, I already teased him here in the office. I said, listen, I know the code, and I'm going to come in, get myself a cup of coffee, and just walk in through the door. And like I said, I see your son all the time coming over. I have to maybe jump on the boat and
On the boat,
get over
yeah,
there.
yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
a good
no,
idea.
it's
Good plan.
been nice to be a part of it here. And thank you for talking, and good luck with your show. I really I love that you do this, and that you know you take the time to hear people's perspectives and all that. So you know, someday I want to be you.
Thank you. Well, we love doing it, and we hope in our little way that we're promoting, our islands as well. So we want to contribute in whatever way we can. So thank you
Yeah,
for sharing.
very nice.
All right, Chris.
All
Take
right,
care.
take care, huh?
And if you like this video, don't forget, give us
A
a
huge thumbs up.
subscribe and hit that notification bell.